everyone. Welcome to week 5 of the CareerEX product management course. And today we'll be addressing agile methodologies. Now, agile methodology is a principled approach that is designed to guide and improve how software development teams work together to deliver new applications and updates in the shortest time possible. So it's essentially a methodology, right, which most software teams implement or some software teams implement in a bid to push out product updates or product features in the shortest time possible. In agile software development, the product owner plays a crucial role as the key stakeholder. So the product manager in traditional product management environment is the product owner in agile software development. And so they essentially play the same role in the sense that they represent the voice of the customer and are responsible for defining and prioritizing the product features, managing the product backlog, and ensuring the product team delivers value with each iteration. The product owner works closely with the development team to communicate requirements, provide clarifications, and make decisions to maximize product value. So this should sound familiar because we've talked about the core responsibilities of a product manager. Now, agile methodology has a couple of key concepts, and we'll address about four of them. One of them is collaboration. Agile success relies on teamwork, same as traditional product management. And so you're working with a team of cross functional stakeholders, and as a product owner, you have to learn how to collaborate effectively with them for the delivery of product success. Another is continuous improvement. Continuous improvement refers to the ongoing process of analyzing performance, identifying opportunities, and making incremental changes to processes, products, and personnel. And so, as a product owner, you are continuously looking out for ways that your products can improve, ways that you can improve your product processes so that you can deliver outputs in as much shorter time. So you're constantly looking for how to reduce time to delivery. You're also looking for how to help manage your team so you are more effective and deliver your product goals excellently. Another key concept is coordination. Coordination involves the process of organizing and managing tasks to ensure that the project is delivered on time and within budget. And so, as a product owner, you have to wear a bit of project management hat where you are also looking at the project as a whole, not just managing the product, and looking at how you can manage tasks to optimize your processes, to optimize your project so that you deliver on time and within budget and there's no scope creep, rather you're not stepping out of the allotted time or budget that you have designed for a particular sprint. Another key concept is communication, and it's very, very important. It cannot be overemphasized how important communication is to even software development teams as a whole. So you have to learn how to communicate with your team effectively well. Agile Manifesto is a document that identifies four key values. So, an Agile Manifesto is essentially a document that guides Agile software development companies on how to implement Agile frameworks, how to build Agile teams, and just how to conceptualize Agile methodologies. Now, the Agile Manifesto was officially created by about 17 software developers, and it was created with the intent to improve software development processes at companies. There are four key values included in the Agile Manifesto and 12 principles. One of the four key values is that agile software environment or agile work environment prioritizes individuals and interactions over processes and tools. And this just means that agile places a strong emphasis on human interactions and teamwork over the processes and tools that will be used. It values the contribution of individuals and recognizes that effective collaboration is the key to success. Another key value is that agile environment prioritizes working software over comprehensive documentation. Agile prioritizes delivering functional, valuable products over excessive documentation. So less focus on heavy documentation and more focus on delivering functional, valuable products. So more focus on output. Agile also prioritizes customer collaboration over contract negotiation. It values feedback and adjusts plan accordingly to ensure customer satisfaction. So customer satisfaction is core. And then lastly, Agile prioritizes responding to change over following a plan. So Agile uses a linear methodology in the sense that you don't have to do things one after the other. They are not thrown off. Agile teams are not thrown off course by a change in plan because they are adaptive, and so they easily or quickly are able to respond to change, and as opposed to just sticking with a plan that is set in stone. Now, the 12 key principles, like I said, we're going to address about six of them, and then you can research the other six on your own. So, some of the key agile principles are meeting end users' needs with early and continuous delivery of work, being open to changes in requirements, even if it is late in the project, because they are adaptive, they are adaptable to change, delivering completed work at regular intervals, preferably short ones, because agile is all about delivering product outputs in the shortest possible time, working with the project team and business owners daily, assembling a motivated team, providing them with the right environment and support, and communicating face to face regularly because they are heavy on communication. And Scrum framework. Scrum is a framework used by software development teams. Scrum is a framework within the umbrella or under the umbrella of Agile methodology, and it is a framework used by software development teams that uses all the principles within Agile to get work done. So it's a form of Agile methodology. And this framework guides the creation of a product by focusing on high value and feasibility of progress on product activities. Now, the Scrum team is very similar to a product team, but it's a bit there's a couple of distinctions. Now, the Scrum team consists of one Scrum Master, one product owner, and developers. And within a Scrum team, there are no sub teams or hierarchies. Now, we'll learn about each of these team members and what their jobs are within the team. Now, the Scrum Master is accountable for establishing Scrum as as defined in the Scrum Guide. So, the Scrum Master is the subject matter it is subject matter expert when it comes to Scrum guide and Scrum methodology, and is accountable for establishing Scrum and ensuring that the teams are following Scrum framework. They do this by helping everyone understand Scrum theory and practice within the team and the organization. A couple of the things that they're responsible for in the organization are they are responsible for leading, training, and coaching the organization in its Scrum adoption. So essentially, they help a company continue to build their framework around agile methodology, around Scrum frameworks. They also help in planning and advising Scrum implementations within the organizations. They remove barriers between stakeholders and Scrum teams. The next team member of a Scrum team is the product owner. The product owner is akin to a product manager in a traditional product management software team. And the product owner is responsible for maximizing the value of the product. Think of whatever it is you know a product manager does. That is what a product owner does. Only this time you are doing it in an agile work environment or on a Scrum team, and the product owner is accountable for effective product backlog management. Some of the other responsibilities of a product owner include developing and explicitly communicating the product goal, creating and clearly communicating product backlog items, ordering product backlog items, and ensuring that the product backlog is transparent, visible, and understood. And then we have developers. Developers are your team members who are tasked with the responsibility of building functionality onto the product. And some of their responsibilities are creating a plan for the sprint, instilling quality by adhering to a definition of done, adapting their plan each day toward the sprint goal, and holding each other accountable as professionals. Now, Scrum events. What are Scrum events? Under Scrum framework, we have something called Scrum events, and this refers to key elements of the Scrum framework that serve to ensure teams are aligned on the sprint and product goals. There are five Scrum events, and they include the sprint planning, daily Scrum, sprint review, and sprint retrospective. We'll take them one after the other. What is sprint? Sprint refers to a series of short projects or periods of software development work, which typically lasts for 2 weeks, but not longer than a month. So it's a very short timeline. The usual accepted timeline for a sprint is 2 weeks, but sometimes you can find sprints that extend up to a month, but not longer than a month. Sprints don't last longer than a month. And essentially, all work done in Scrum are referred to as, so the product development process is referred to as a sprint. And work done in a sprint session is focused on delivering product outputs in the shortest time possible so as to enable rapid feedback loops from all stakeholders. Sprint planning commences now, every sprint commences with a sprint planning session. And in the sprint planning session, the Scrum team discusses the plans that will be covered, the product work that will be covered in a sprint. And this is done to ensure alignment across board. There's also daily scrum meeting, which refers to a 15-minute daily meeting session where the scrum team just meets to evaluate progress, discuss any impediments in task completion, and tweak their plan for the day. At the end of every sprint, the scrum team meets for something called a sprint review. So remember that the sprint lasts for 2 weeks or worst case scenario a month. And at the end of this sprint cycle, the scrum team will meet in something called a sprint review session, and they'll meet with stakeholders, and they will discuss feedback from task delivery and analyze areas of improvement. There's also something called sprint retrospective, which is under a scrum event, and this refers to the internal meeting consisting of just the scrum team where they gather to discuss how the sprint went and areas of improvement in the overall process. Under Scrum framework, we also have um, Scrum artifact. And essentially, Scrum artifact just refers to documentation that a Scrum team and stakeholders will use to detail information regarding the products being developed. Scrum artifacts have a couple of examples. Now, one Scrum artifact is the product backlog, and the product backlog refers to a list of features, bug enhancements, feature requests, or work requirements that is needed to build a feature or product. Sprint backlog is also a Scrum artifact, and it entails the product backlog tasks which have been scheduled to be developed during the next product increment by the Scrum team. Essentially, when you have your product backlog, which is your holistic list of features. Now, the sprint backlog is like a subset of the product backlog where you identify on your product backlog which features are going next after a sprint session, and you put it on a sprint backlog. And the Scrum team is just aware that at the end of this sprint session, these are the features that we are starting the next sprint with. Product increments usually are decided during a Scrum team planning session, and there's always one increment for each sprint. So, a product increment refers to the customer deliverables which are produced by completing backlog tasks during a sprint. Now, lean startup methodology. Lean startup methodology is a bit different from agile methodology. However, they have similarities. Lean startup methodology is based on principles of lean and agile software development, and it is a principled approach to product development which involves building products based on iterative experimentation, focused learning, and fast iterations. Now, let's cover some of the principles or some of the ways in which lean startup is quite similar to agile methodology. Now, lean startup methodology is focused on eliminating uncertainty. The lack of a tailored management process has led many startups to create a new product or service under conditions of extreme uncertainty to abandon all process. Using the lean startup approach, organizations can create order, not chaos, by providing tools to test a vision, so continuous iterations. Can you see how similar it is to agile methodology? And it's about putting a methodology around the development of a product. Under one principle of lean startup is also work smarter, not harder. Now, Lean startup has a premise that every startup is a grand experiment that attempts to answer a question. And the question is, should this product be built? Not can this product be built. Asking whether a product should be built just allows the team know whether a product task or a product activity is what their team effort or not, and in so doing they're able to work smarter and not expel resources in building a product that customers might not want. Lean startup also focuses on developing an MVP, which is quite similar to traditional product management. A core component of Lean startup methodology is the build, measure, learn feedback loop. And the first step is to figuring out the problem that needs to be solved and then developing an MVP to begin the process of learning as quickly as possible. So an MVP is more tailored towards learning and gathering insights. There's also validated learning that is a principle of lean startup, and once entrepreneurs focus on figuring once you when you focus on figuring the right thing to build, which is the thing that customers want, it's easier for the software teams or a lean agile teams to adapt their plans incrementally. So one of the principles is figuring out what customers are looking to have from your product. Now, the main aim of the lean startup methodology is to build products that customers really want, minimize waste, and maximize learning and continuous growth. Now, in session two, we're going to cover what are the tools you can use for agile, or what are the tools that agile teams use, and what are the techniques as well. See you then.